What happened next? 1935. Some events are going to happen very quickly here. 1935, Mussolini invaded the African nation of Ethiopia. When it did this, the League of Nations, you remember that League of Nations, formed after World War One, imposed economic sanctions on Italy. But they were really unable to stop Mussolini from doing this. So it became pretty evident that the League of Nations was a very weak body with very little bite. The next year, 1936, Hitler invaded the Rhineland. I'll show you a map in just a minute. The Rhineland is a very important region between France and Germany. After World War I, at that Treaty of Versailles, the Rhineland, which had been historically part of Germany, was taken away from Germany, and so now Germany wants it back. And so Hitler moves troops into the Rhineland, and he takes over Germany. Now, he violated the Versailles Treaty when he did this, because the Rhineland had been taken away from Germany as a result of this treaty, or in this treaty. It had been a demilitarized zone, and so Germany moves in, occupies it, breaks the treaty, violates the treaty, and it's able to do this because it has a huge army by 1936. The treaty said that the Treaty of Versailles had said that Germany could only have a very small army and only a very small navy, with no tanks, no air force, no heavy artillery. But Germany has broken all of these parts of the Versailles Treaty by 1936, and it is building up its military very quickly. When it does this, when Hitler invades the Rhineland in 1936, he realizes that France and Great Britain won't do anything to stop his dominance. He realizes that they're pretty cowardly, because once he does this in 1936, they don't do much to show their disapproval. Okay, so his thinking now is he can continue to take and occupy land in Europe. No one will be there to stop him. Also in 1936, Germany, Italy, and Japan, these three aggressive nations, enter into what's known as the Anti-Comintern Pact. Comintern refers to communism. These three countries were not communist. They didn't like communists, and so they enter into this Anti-Comintern, Anti-Communist Pact. And this forms what becomes known as the Axis powers. By entering into this pact, they agreed to safeguard their common interests. So we've got an agreement between these three nations. The next year, 1937, Japan further invades China. It had already been in Manchuria, but it invades other parts of China, capturing a really important city, one of the capitals of China, Nanking. Now, when it did this, when the Japanese troops moved into Nanking, they kind of went crazy. They murdered a lot of citizens there. They raped women. 300,000 Chinese are estimated to have been murdered during this episode is known as the Rape of Nanking. The Rape of Nanking. And it's a point of contention even today between China and Japan. Japanese leaders, most of them still deny that this ever occurred, but the Chinese say, no, this certainly did occur. And so we've got some contention there today over this. But Japan invades China further in 1937. So they're not just interested in Manchuria, they're interested in other parts of China as well. The next year, 1938, Germany sees Western Czechoslovakia. Again, I'll show you a map in just a second to show you where Czechoslovakia is. It's just to Germany's east. So the reason that Hitler invaded Czechoslovakia was because he said there was a large German population that lived there, and there was. And remember, what he's trying to do is he's trying to bring under his control all lands that have people of German descent who speak German, all Germans. He's trying to bring them under his control. And so this is his excuse in 1938 for invading Czechoslovakia.